Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Today we're looking at what is arguably one of the most enduring and honestly chilling mysteries in American history, the enigma of the Black Dahlia murder. Back in 1947, the horrific end of a 22-year-old Hollywood hopeful literally shocked the entire nation. Let's retrace exactly how this baffling mystery unfolded, starting right from that very first morning. I want you to picture this scene. It's January 15th, 1947, in a quiet Los Angeles neighborhood. It started out with a completely normal, everyday expectation, right? A mother simply taking her child for a peaceful morning stroll. But wow, that innocent walk was completely shattered when she stumbled upon a totally gruesome discovery right there on the sidewalk. It was the body of a young, naked woman, and what truly made this stand out in the annals of criminal history was the sheer, calculated brutality of it all. The victim had been cleanly, and I mean completely cleanly, sliced in half at the waist. And this brilliantly illustrates the utterly bizarre psychology of the crime scene. You see, the body wasn't hidden away in some dark alleyway or, buried deep in the woods. No, it was placed literally inches from the walkway. The staging of it was just so unnatural, so almost theatrical, that the mother who found her initially thought it was a mannequin at first glance. Actually, a lot of people probably would have thought the same. This deliberate posing immediately told investigators they were dealing with a highly unvisual, incredibly calculating offender. So, as authorities swarmed the scene, a glaring forensic anomaly quickly emerged. There was zero blood. Seriously, none. Despite the massive, deep cuts required to completely sever a human body, investigators couldn't find a single drop anywhere near her. So what does that tell us? Well, it proved this quiet sidewalk was really merely a dumping ground. The killer had committed the actual murder and performed that horrifying postmortem dissection at an entirely different, completely hidden location. Now, with a heavily mutilated victim and absolutely no identification on her, you'd probably think identifying her would take weeks, right? But it took a remarkably short amount of time, 56 minutes. That is the incredibly rapid time frame it took the FBI to positively identify this totally unknown victim once they stepped in. Under an hour. I mean, that is a breathtakingly rapid pace for an investigation, especially back in 1947. But how on earth did law enforcement pull off a cross-country identification in 1947 without computers? Well, the answer is the Soundphoto. Essentially, it was a primitive fax machine. News services used it to send photos over telephone wires, but the LAPD brilliantly repurposed it. They transmitted the victim's blurred fingerprints all the way to the FBI headquarters. It's just an amazing example of adapting the tech of the time to crack a puzzle. Of course, actually receiving the prints is one thing, but matching them? That's a whole other hurdle. The FBI had to search through a staggering database of over 100 million fingerprints. To put that into perspective, it's basically like finding a needle in a continent-sized haystack. But remarkably, the young woman's prints weren't just in that massive database once, they were actually in there twice. That gave the Bureau an immediate, vital hit. Let's trace the paper trail that gave us the victim's identity, Elizabeth Short. First up, in January 1943, she applied to be a clerk at the Army's Camp Cook. That's exactly how her prints first entered the federal system. Then, just 7 months later, a Santa Barbara underage drinking arrest provided the Bureau with her mugshot. Tragically, though, this brief documented footprint ends in January 1947 with the completely gruesome discovery of her body. Now, what's really interesting about this specific detail is the origin of the name that made her immortal in the true crime world. The press very quickly erased the name Elizabeth Short and dubbed her the Black Dahlia. Why, you ask? Well, it was kind of a catchy combination of her rumored penchant for wearing sheer black clothes mixed with a nod to a super popular movie playing at the time called The Blue Dahlia. It was this entirely manufactured cinematic nickname designed strictly to sell papers. But it was cinematic, it was dark, and honestly, it cemented her enduring legend. So the crucial point is that solving this incredibly complex case wasn't just left to local cops alone. The LAPD and the FBI launched an absolutely unprecedented cooperative investigation. We're talking massive national records checks, nationwide interviews, and deeply analyzing physical evidence. They basically left no stone unturned. And this effort targeted specific profiles, which eventually led them right to the doors of the USC Medical School. Let's dig into that medical student theory for a second. Because the body was sliced so cleanly, investigators deduced that it strongly pointed to a killer with professional dissection skills. I mean, it was just too precise and methodical for an amateur. Because of this, agents, quite logically, focused some really intense scrutiny on students at the USC Medical School. It was a highly rational suspect pool for someone who actually knew how to anatomically dissect a body in Los Angeles back in 1947.
But as we know, investigations usually hinge on physical evidence. Authorities really thought they caught a massive break when a tantalizing anonymous letter showed up. It was believed to be from the killer, basically taunting them. They carefully tested it and, get this, they actually found prints. But here is the devastating dead end. Those prints matched absolutely no one. Remember that massive database of 100 million prints? Yeah, the killer wasn't in it. It was a huge letdown that completely stalled the momentum of the entire case.
Which leaves us with one lingering, genuinely haunting question. Who killed the Black Dahlia and why? Despite the 56-minute identification, the cutting-edge tech of the time, the exhaustively pursued leads, and, massive FBI resources, the murderer just vanished into history. Now, over 3/4 of a century later, this case remains unsolved. It's a stark reminder that some puzzles, no matter how intensely we scrutinize them, manage to keep their dark secrets forever. So, what do you think investigators missed?